Have with us Ms. Sara Visintainer. She's the Chief of Staff for Carroll County Commissioner's Office. We also have with us the Honorable Mr. Doug Howard. He's the Chairman of the Rural Counties Coalition. Also, he's a member of the Carroll County Commissioners. Good to see you both this evening.
The coalition began in 2011 when our last Board of Commissioners was elected into office. At the first MACO meeting, the presidents of 4 counties, actually 5 counties, got together and started talking about how would the rural areas be represented, how would we have a voice at the table, given some of the things that were coming down the pike. And so organization was formed later that year, and the original counties included Carroll County, Frederick County, Washington County, and Allegheny County. Really at that time we were dealing with things like Plan Maryland, some of the regulation that was coming out, how to make sure that there was some consideration for the impacts that these different regulations would have on rural counties, and the understanding that a rural county is not just an urban county that hasn't yet been urbanized, that it's actually a different, whole different set of issues and concerns. At that time, the coalition was under the leadership of Mike McKay, who was a county commissioner in Allegheny County. Mike did an excellent job of helping us identify a legislative consultant that gave us some representation or at least awareness of what was going on down in Annapolis, but more importantly gave us the opportunity to strike a official relationship with MACO, the Maryland Association of Counties. At first there were some folks that were very suspect of that, concerned about whether we would be a more of a divisive force, if we would be able to meld well with MACO. Mike did an excellent job, and as a result of that, not only have we been embraced as an official group of MACO, but also we have grown from 4 counties to 11 counties. And we're in discussions with 4 more counties. So it's an interesting time. And as a result, it's interesting because also 7 of the more urban, larger counties have decided that they need a coalition, which tells me that our voice is being heard. And I'm very comfortable with the notion that if a piece of legislation or regulation is going to come out, I very much like the idea that someone's going to look at it from, well, how does this not only affect the urban communities, but how does it affect the rural communities? So I think we've gone from hoping our voice was heard to a much more equal seat at the table. Right now we have 4 priorities going forward. For this coming year, one is to stay engaged in the legislative process. We weigh in on the legislation. We generally don't take a position if MACO has, but if MACO does not take a position on something and we feel that it impacts the rural counties, we will in fact take a position on it. The second is regulatory. A lot of the things that we face as counties come to us not in the form of legislation, but in the form of regulation enacting legislation. And so one of the things that we feel most confident about is that going forward with new people and new administrative positions as they get settled, we have an opportunity to reach out to them and not only respond to regulation, but suggest things that would make it easier for our counties to operate, businesses to flourish, those kinds of things. The third is some special areas that, just in the course of our conversation that we're cognizant of and trying to share ideas on. One is the challenge that I think all communities have with the drug problem facing our communities, but also another is veteran services. We've had some success in different areas where we've been able to enhance services for veterans. Anytime counties get together, it's an opportunity to share ideas because in many respects we do a lot of the same types of things. And the fourth is communication, and my trek down here tonight is evidence of the fact that it's not easy for us rural counties to get together. And in fact, the urban counties get together, I think, once a week, and they get together with the leadership in the House and the Senate. And so we're looking at some things like video conferencing and some of the latest technology to say, when we need to get together with a meeting, we can't all jump in the car and spend 2 hours getting somewhere. We've got to be able to communicate, share ideas, and function more easily and cost effectively if we're going to be able to coordinate and have a voice.
And we gave you a one-pager which had some of our key focus areas there in terms of dealing with the drug crisis, economic development, responsible growth and environmental stewardship, and healthcare access, and I believe we'll be adding another one related to Veterans Affairs to that list when we meet in a conference call this week. But there's a lot to be done on all these issues. We want to make sure that we're engaging with each other to make sure that we're harnessing the best ideas and moving those forward to the state level, engaging with the secretaries of the different departments and making sure that any policy that's considered really takes into account how service delivery can vary widely between rural counties and our more urban and suburban counterparts. And a good example of that is on the drug issue. I know that we're going to be talking about how the state funds behavioral health and addictions programs, looking and moving to a fee-for-service model. That was something that was slated to be implemented in FY16. The rural counties expressed a lot of concern about that service delivery model change in the funding because we don't have the private providers that you have in more urban and suburban districts. And so there was a one-year hold on that, but that may be something that's looked at again for 2017. We have a chance to now engage with the new administration and say, if you're going to look at a funding model for addictions, it's got to make sense for all parts of the state.
You know, there's never a situation where we're all going to agree on things. Everybody's got a different slant. We try to also make sure that the coalition speaks when there is a consensus, speaks when there is a clear position, doesn't ever attempt to speak for a county or to put a county in, you know, in a position where we're in conflict, because, you know, as individual counties, we also have, you know, the responsibility also to represent our own constituents, but we've found in Carroll it has not been a conflict. It's opened more doors for us than not.
So we're in a unique area here in Talbot County with so much water resource. So agriculture is very important to us, but we're always wrestling with the farmers versus the cleaning up of the bay, and trying to find ways that everyone can benefit, the farmers and the watermen. And so sometimes when I'd like to see the positions that were taken, because there are some environmental initiatives that we may favor because of our close proximity to the bay, that I just would like to know whether you all took a positive or a negative stance on. As I say, we're not going to agree on everything in any coalition that you put together. There's always going to be some things, but I would like to see the prevalence of those issues if you have something.
What I'm going to do is just allow council to take this back into consideration and to provide the information that Mr. Bartlett spoke about regarding last year's bill or this year's projected bills you're going to make a decision on. We'll have that also to look over, and we'll get an answer back to you shortly, one way or the other. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug, for making that trip across the